I've eaten a lot of raccoon. Yes. The answer is yes. And I've eaten it. I've eaten it hunting. I've actually had it served by my mom at the table away from hunting. And I have eaten raccoon. And yes, it's not uncommon at all. I'll tell you something that is one of my favorites is squirrel. And it's wonderful, and my mother could do a great job of it. And we all had our favorite pieces. And my dad and sister, I have one sibling, a sister, and they would fight over, not fight, but my mom and I, they were just, my sister and I as far as siblings, my mom and I wouldn't even ask for the brain in a squirrel.
Oh, man.
And delicious, seriously.
My dad loves cow
my
brain.
sister always got it, or my dad.
A fight over the brain. Jerry?
Fight over the brain. Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as the Funky Chicken. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. It is the weekend. Tomorrow is the Dallas Cowboys season finale, with the Washington Commanders coming to town with something to play for, without the Dallas Cowboys having much. We don't have anything to play for. Let's be clear here. Our season is in the books. In fact, the hay is in the barn, as Jerry Jones had said. So we have some breaking news that trigger Trey, that Trey Lance, little Trey is going to get significant playing time this week. And I have questions. Here. My question, having gone to training camp and seeing Trey Lance getting so much, play in preseason, seeing him playing against the Rams in preseasons and stuff, with the Cowboys constantly saying, we're not playing Trey Lance because we're trying to win. When you signed Trey Lance, didn't you think that you were signing him to be a player that can help you win some games? We're here at the very last game of the season where everybody's got their golf clubs in their trunks, and that's when we're going to finally try and play him, when we've known the season has been dead for several weeks now. Did you not – what were your expectations? This is my real question. What were your expectations when you traded for Trey Lance? Were you looking at him and saying, he's a project that, we can't let see the field? Are you literally saying that we have no chance to win with him, and this is the only reason why he's actually going to play? Here's my biggest problem with the Dallas Cowboys. My biggest problem with the Dallas Cowboys is they always wait until the last minute to do anything. They're always, the starting gun goes off, pow, everybody is flown off. They're still sitting at the starting line. With contracts, with getting rid of people, with hiring. Now, I'm not going to say that Mike Zimmer was a bad hire. I'm not going to say that. But because you waited and waited and waited and waited for Dan Quinn to do something, you didn't have a lot of options out there like you would had you just said, we're looking for a new defensive coordinator. The fact that you are going to, and again, if you're going to keep Mike McCarthy, then it's water under the bridge. if you're going to say, we're going to wait this week, we're going to sit down at the season's over, we're going to evaluate, we're going to have meetings, and we got until the 14th to decide if we want to keep him before anybody else can talk to him or not. Well, I hate to tell you, others are already out in the race and figuring out who their coach is going to be. It's seeming like Mike Vrabel, if you thought that he was one of the ones that should come here, would be the one. Mike Vrabel has kind of trained his avatar to him and Teddy Bruschi during their heydays. And it seems like the Patriots are looking at Mike Vrabel to be their coach. We've heard rumors that Cliff Kingsbury may be interviewing with the Bears. And it's not even Black Monday yet. Everybody else is already looking for all these coaches and things. And understand, when you're hiring a Dallas Cowboy coach, you got a lot of parameters that you don't have with other people. So you need the right kind of guy. A guy who can work with less, who doesn't mind being a lapdog and playing second fiddle to the owner and his son, who's going to take all the heat and all the blame, and is going to be vilified by the fan base. There's not a whole lot of people out there, so you want to keep as many options as possible. So you waiting another 9 days when everybody else is already grabbing up all the stuff, you're going to be left without a seat. This is one of the reasons why I think Mike McCarthy comes back. But then again, this is the way the Cowboys do stuff. And it doesn't seem to matter that it hampers them. Every time they have waited to get a contract done, be it D-Law, be it Zeke, be it CeeDee Lamb, be it Dak, every one of those contracts have been bad contracts because you're rushing. As Jerry Jones says, deadlines make deals get done. And yeah, they get done, but it doesn't mean they get done well. Excuse me. It's kind of like you do your term paper the night before it's due. It got done, but you ain't necessarily getting an A on that mother humper because you needed to do some research and some time and proofread and make sure that, well, I forgot to spell check and all that shit now. It's not like the hard days when we actually had to type this shit up on a typewriter, not a computer. Sorry, I digress. You mother humpers, you guys don't know how freaking easy you have it. Don't even have to go to the library to do research. Have to go through the damn Dewey Decimal System here to find out that there's three books that you need, and all three of them are checked out for 2 more weeks. But the Cowboys are the guys that are always doing the term paper the night before. And it looks like shit. It doesn't read well. And when you're trying to do these contracts at the last minute, you've already had everybody else get their contract, and so now you're paying the most. And then we get crying, well, it's hard. You know, people don't understand how hard it is dealing with this cap. When you have these contracts, you got to pay Dak, you got to pay CD. We're happy that we got these guys, but, it costs a lot of money because you waited and waited and waited. If you had done Dak Prescott's deal and made him the highest paid at the end of last season when he was an MVP candidate, got it locked down, it wouldn't be $60 million a year now. Had you got CeeDee Lamb's done the end of his year before, when we talked about getting CD done, you'd have CD locked up now for about $24-25 million. So the Cowboys keep doing the same thing. You got Trey Lance. Here it is, the last week of the season. You're going to put him in after giving up a 4th-round pick and paying $5.3 million for him, and he's a free agent. And you guys wonder why we don't win. And you think All we need is a new coach and quarterback, and we're golden. That's all we need. Just get rid of Dak, fire Mike McCarthy, we're going to the Super Bowl. When we have an organization that's just giving away picks. The one thing we supposedly do well, hey, let's give up a 7th round for Jordan Phillips. That's a good idea. Hey, let's give up a 4th round for Jonathan Mingo. No problem. Hey, let's give up a 4th round for Trey Lance and not play him. And pay him $5.5 million. Let's go to the tape here. There you go. Interesting there. Did you like that? Did you like the different angle? Because you could read my whole shirt? Okay. It's a new year, and we're going to try some things differently. See, in life, what you have to understand is what may have worked last year gets old. People just kind of tune out. So you have to change things up to get a different result. You can't be stuck doing the same thing that you've been doing for 30 years. Because, we always see these businesses and corporations that are, that we think are iconic and will always be there. But guess what? For me, it was Sears. Sears, you could buy anything, tools, clothes, your house. There are Sears kit houses that are around here that were in the 1920s and 30s. Literally, your house came on a train, dropped off all the pieces and anything else, and you put it together. Sears ain't there anymore. Same thing with Kmart. My God, growing up, it was Kmart and their blue light specials. Woo, woo, okay. Now, it became Walmart. And I dare say, Walmart's not going anywhere, but Amazon is kind of taking over everything. You got Amazon TV. So if you can't change with the times, you get left behind. And that's the Cowboys right now. They're still stuck on we them boys. We them boys. Because we're the Dallas Cowboys, everybody wants to be here with us. And I don't think in the back of their mind that they would think that Mike McCarthy would leave the Cowboys. Are you kidding me? But there's jobs. I have to say, the Cowboys may not be that desirable of a job. That if you're a big name coach that you really want to come here, you're going to get burned out. You're going to get tired of constantly the bullshit and being undermined. I think the Cowboys' biggest thing is in the back of their mind, they're realizing this, and they might be thinking, oh shit, what if Mike McCarthy doesn't want to stay? That's a real possibility, y'all. And just like with Dan Quinn going, they thought, oh, Dan Quinn's coming back. Oh, well, if Dan Quinn doesn't get, he's already interviewed with other, nobody wants Dan Quinn. And here's the real thing that would be a kicker. The real kick to the gut for the Dallas Cowboys would be, let's say they move on from Mike McCarthy. And let's say he goes to a team like the Jets where he's got a relationship up there. Same thing with New Orleans. Let's say he has the Dan Quinn effect where he turns the franchise around, especially the Jets, because the Jets are the team that's been away from the playoffs the longest in any sports league. If he went to the Jets and ended up turning that team around, could you imagine? Because then what that says is it's not Mike McCarthy. It wasn't Dan Quinn. It wasn't Dan Quinn. It's you, Jerry. It's you, Steven. You don't know what you're doing. And that's the bottom line here is they have set this whole thing up where they've screwed the pooch. So now they're getting the publicity. They got the value. I guess if it's not about winning a Super Bowl, that's all you want, well, you're good. Another name that's popped up is John Gruden. John Gruden, all of a sudden, is getting some love out there. And maybe John Gruden is the brand new flavor in your ear.
Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan in the Metroplex today when asked if anything that happens Sunday could affect the future of the coaching staff. He mentioned that the hay is in the barn there. So if you're Mike McCarthy, do you like that the hay is in the barn, or you don't like that the hay?
Okay, to clarify that, what the hay in the barn means, okay, when he's asked if anything, see, this is where a lot of people took this wrong. What he's saying is everything, you know, our decision is already based off of what happens. You're not going to go out and grow some more hay. Okay, the hay's done. It's in the barn. It's grown up. It's been cut. It's been dried. It's been put in rows. It's been put into the baler. It's been baled, and then it's been carried and it's put in the barn. So nothing that happens out there now is going to change the fact that the hay is in the barn. So what he's saying is the decision's made, or the criteria, what we're basing the decision on, is already done. If you win in this game, well, okay, great. You're beating the Commanders. I think actually it would help, because then you could say, well, we were 4-2 in our division. We swept the Giants. We swept the Commanders when they had something to play for. That's a feather in your cap, and it gets you one more win. It does hurt you in playoff seeding a little bit, but it at least has a good taste in your mouth. But now you're going to go through and you're going to play a guy that you have basically said we can't win with. That's why we're not playing him. So you may be playing with that guy. So now you're hamstringing him some more. But what he's saying is the body of work is already done for us to make a decision. Go on.
He's in the barn. Tom?
If I'm Mike McCarthy, I don't want my fate being decided by, an evaluation type of game in week 18 where the opponent has a lot more motivation to play well than necessarily your team does. And credit to Mike and that staff. They've kept guys playing hard. They've won games with Cooper Rush. This is not by any means a Cowboys team that's mailed it in on a season that, felt like it was already on life support back in October. This is going to be a really interesting type of a situation. And I'm sure Jerry Jones loves the fact that he's got some time to play with. Mike McCarthy's contract does not expire until January 14th. So in essence, under NFL rules, they've got about a 9-day exclusive negotiating window in which other teams can request permission. They can deny it to talk to Mike McCarthy. They can see if there is an accord that would keep McCarthy in Dallas. Once January 14th hits, McCarthy does not need permission. He can go interview and potentially take another job. And I do anticipate, as we talked about, Rich, last week on Game Day Morning, there are going to be other teams interested in Mike McCarthy. The Jets, he would fit a lot of the profile that they're looking for. The Saints, he's got a history in that building, worked with Mickey Loomis when he was the New Orleans offensive coordinator a couple of decades ago here. And for Jerry, who, of course, always likes people talking about the Cowboys, good or bad, all the time, imagine how great this is that even at a time they are not in the postseason, they are not playing a wild card game. By just moving very deliberately through this process, he can keep people talking about what exactly is happening in Dallas for up to 9 days before he really has to make a final and full decision.
All right. So your answer leads to my next question. So you can confirm that the Jets know what they're looking for. Is that where you can confirm that you said that Mike McCarthy is something that the Jets would be interested in because they know what they're looking for? If that's the case, what are they looking for, Tom? Can you let me know about what the Jets' plan is, Tom?
Here's what I would say about the Jets. And it's not that they have a clear vision of a singular person that they're looking for, but after having a first-time head coach and a first-time GM last time around, they are certainly going to skew toward experience in one, if not both spots. And this is also at a time where, in all likelihood, they're going to have to draft a quarterback. They're going to have to bring a young player along at that position. And if you look around, who are the experienced offensive coaches with a history of quarterback development that are available right now? on the market. Some of the names that come to mind, there's obviously Mike McCarthy, who, when he, even setting aside his assistant coaching days, he got to Green Bay. Brett Favre had a career renaissance in '07. He brought Aaron Rodgers along, and he, obviously developed into a four-time MVP winner. You had Dak Prescott, who last year with McCarthy calling the plays had the best season of his career. And Mike's won 61% of his career games and has won a Super Bowl and gone to the playoffs 12 times in 18 years. When you're trying to reestablish credibility alone in your program, it would make sense. Again, it's not a hard and fast rule. They could hire a first timer if they want to, but it would make sense to get somebody who's got the proverbial pelts on the wall to be able to show, hey, this is a different time for the New York Jets. Beyond that, okay, offensive coaches who have had some degree of success as head coaches. John Gruden is on that list, and that is a name that I fully anticipate you are going to hear. I believe there will be interest in John Gruden this time around, even after 3 years ago. Obviously, he resigned as the Raiders head coach after offensive emails were leaked, and there's ongoing litigation involving John Gruden in the league over those emails. But for a team like the Jets, who's looking for experience, for a team like the Saints, that last year, my understanding is Gruden could have had the offensive coordinator job if he wanted it. He ultimately decided that he did not want to do that. The Raiders obviously know him well. The Buccaneers, if they were to make a change, know him well. There's a lot of teams that have a lot of respect for John Gruden out there. So if that's what you're looking for, that's another name. Beyond that, you're talking about a pretty short list. Matt Nagy's another name that I think you're going to hear pop up. And I know that, there's a certain coterie of fans, namely in Chicago, who hear that name and don't understand why he's going to be a head coach again. The guy had a winning record in Chicago. He went to the playoffs twice with Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback. And Nagy's first year, if not for the double doink, they were one of the hottest teams, and they're dancing in the locker room with the smoke machines and everything. Like, it was fun. And then, there were maybe some things staffing-wise that could have been different and whatnot. But those are some of the names. There's not a lot of those guys, offensive coaches who have experience. Again, that's not to say the Jets need an offensive coach or even necessarily that they're going to look for experience. But if I were guessing, Rich, what the profile is that they're looking for, certainly success as an NFL head coach would be a really big plus on a resume.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the road.
There you go. There are people out there that are working on trying to find their next coach. And, you have to look at some of the coaches that have come back and that are successful. You got to look at Harbaugh right now with what they've done with the Chargers. Veteran coach, been there, knows what he's doing. Then you look at Mike McDaniels, who was a hot coordinator with the Miami Dolphins. And you can't really say that he's done a better job than Brian Flores. He's been given everything, including one of the most dynamic players in the NFL. They've done everything to succeed in Miami with Mike McDaniels, and they were getting about the same results with Brian Flores. So I don't know where this team's going. I have no idea. I don't know what they're doing. I just hope that they start speeding up the process. Start making decisions and start giving yourself enough time to enact those decisions. Because if we don't, we're just going to get the same results. It's plenty to talk about, I can say that for sure, because the Cowboys, wow, they're always a lot to talk about. But when it comes to winning, not so much. Alrighty, good people, as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I'll see you soon. Peace.